Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. So I'm gonna make a quick little video here on animating, doing an animation for your videos. So I was trying to make an intro for one of my hunting videos, and what I was looking for was a flying arrow, an arrow that I could shoot. Seeing I never shoot a deer on camera for some reason, I was trying to make an arrow fly and shoot a deer out in the field. So I looked all over the internet and I found a couple. There were a couple arrows, but they didn't really fit what I was trying to do. So I decided to come up with a way to make my own. Okay, so I originally had a video of myself shooting the bow, and I had a video of a deer standing in the field. Okay, so those two pieces I had. What I didn't have is the arrow flying out of the bow and hitting the deer. So that's what I had to create. So I'm going to show you quickly here how I did this, and maybe you can use this in your videos to put a little bit of animation in there without buying or paying for it on the internet. So the first thing you have to do is you have to have something that's a solid color. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn at some point on the computer, I'm going to turn this into a green screen. Okay, so that I can bring it into my video and make the background disappear. So you have to start out with something that's a solid color so that I can go into like paint and change this to a green. Okay, so I just have this board here. This is a brown. I don't know if one side is better than the other. I should really look at that once. Yeah, no, the other side has lines on it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm setting up the arrow in the position that it looks like when it's coming out of the bow and would be flying. Okay, so I just have it laying straight on there, and now all I do is take a picture of it with my phone. Now you want to get this picture so that it kind of looks the same way, that it's coming out of the bow. So there we have it. Okay, that didn't work right there. That's better. All right, so we have a picture that's coming out of the bow, and sometimes that reflection will mess with you a little bit. The better the picture you can take, the better off you're going to be later on. So that's it for this part of it. So let's go up on the computer and I'll show you how I do this on the computer.
So here we are on the computer. Now this is the first picture I took at the beginning of the video, and it didn't turn out very good. So I'm going to show you what happens here. So you see all this light, the shiny areas? That's kind of what I'm talking about, is you need to have a good picture. So normally what I do here is I go up to what they call bucket fill, and I change the color to green because we're making a green screen, and I just click inside this brown area. So you see what happens here. There's no definite lines on this arrow because of the reflections and the shading, because my picture is no good. So it fills the arrow in with the green also. So basically this is a picture you can't really use, and there's a way to do it. I'll give you a little bit of an explanation here in a minute. So I went back and I took another picture on a white background. So here we have the arrow with the white background. Now what I did off screen here, because it takes a while to do, is I outline this. If you zoom in here, you can kind of see my black outline here. So I traced the whole arrow, and what that does is that if you have a solid line all the way around it, then when you do the bucket fill, it will not violate the arrow. Okay, so I did that off screen because it takes a while to trace this all the way around here with a line. And so now we're just going to do a bucket fill again with the green. And we're going to click inside the white area. And just like that, now you have your arrow. So it's not that hard to do. It's just, it takes a little bit of time, and the better the picture, the easier this is to do. So like I said, I did an outline all the way around this, and that took a while to make that outline and make it look right. But you can do it. It's not that hard. So now I just save this, and this is my green screen of an arrow. And let's go into the other software, and we'll show you how this looks in there. So here we are in our Filmora software. Now I put some of this together ahead of time so it doesn't take so long, but I already had the video of me shooting the bow. Okay, so I had that video clip, and then I had the video clip of the deer. Okay, probably seen that in some of my other videos. So I had that already saved on my computer. So then what I had to do was I had to go and make the arrows, basically. So that's all that's in this video is basically three clips, and then I have one up here that where I got the sound of me shooting the bow, the audio of me shooting the bow off of. So what I did off screen is I made four versions of this arrow, and the only reason I had to do that is because of how I'm using the application. Depending on how you're going to use this in your video, you may not have to do this. But so let's take a look at these here. So I made one without a feather on the bottom. Okay, so you'll see in a minute why I had to do that. So then I made one when it goes through the deer, so I have two halves. Then I made one with the bottom feather blacked out, and then I made one with just a half of an arrow, and that's again for the way it goes through the bow, so you don't see the arrow. Basically, just so it looks realistic when it's flying out of the bow is really why I did that. Okay, so if we go down here in our timeline, we start out with our first clip of me shooting the bow. Now we have to get this first arrow in there, so we're going to bring this first arrow down and put it right here in the timeline, right on top here. So we're going to set that in place like that there, and you can shorten this up, the time frame you can shorten by just dragging these arrows, and that'll shorten it up to match your video. So basically what you have to do is you have to double click on that little piece of a clip, and then if you look up here, it gives you a box, and this box you can stretch that arrow out. See how the arrow is getting bigger? Okay, so you have to resize that arrow now so that it sits right in my bow up here. Like so, and then you can drag it, you know, and you move it around until you get it to where you want it. All right, so that's how you do it, and you keep adding these clips. If I move my timeline down a little bit and I bring in the other clip, the next clip, and we double click on that one. Now I went ahead and resized all of these ahead of time. Really, all you do is you take and you copy and paste, and then you just keep adding little segments and move them. So once you have your first one sized, okay, I just copy and paste that. It's already sized, and then I just move it over a little bit. So as you can see up here, you can see I just moved it forward a little bit so it looks like it's halfway out of the bow. Okay? And then we just keep adding them. We just keep adding them, just like I did over here. You just keep adding them until it makes it look like that arrow is flying. And the reason I did that is if you look up here, the arrow's going through the riser of the bow. So you wouldn't see the feathers right here, okay? So if I bring in the first one, if I would move the first one over here and copy it, then you would see feathers right here and that wouldn't look right. So, you know, that's why I cut that arrow in half, and that's how I made that look like it's moving. So let's add one more clip. So now again you see the other half of the arrow. We're going to get the feathers again and coming out of the bow like it's flying. And we just continue that until it's off the screen. So there you see just the feathers before it leaves the screen. So now if we go back to the beginning and play that, you can see how the arrow moved off the screen. So now when we get to the second clip, the deer, it's basically the same thing, only I'm coming in with the point of the arrow first. You can see the point of the arrow here. You can see the point of the arrow here coming in off the left side of the screen. Okay? And it's basically the same thing. We just keep cutting pieces of this arrow and putting them one after the other until I get down here a ways. Now I have the broken arrow, which is, I made the broken arrow because it's going through the deer here at this point. And it wouldn't look right if that was, you know, a solid arrow. Okay? And then we also added the blood spurt from, oh, let's see, where did I get the blood spurt from? It was an element, I believe. Oh, here it is, blood burst pack. Okay, so it's an element. That's where I got that from. So after that, and you know, the title and all that stuff, you know how to do that. But that's how I make this arrow fly. So let's watch this thing all the way from the beginning here, and you can see how it actually looks like the arrow's flying. It is that simple, people. So that's about it for here on the computer. I hope you can use this and get this to work on your videos. Like I said earlier, you can go on and you can search the web and you can find all kinds of animations already that people have already made, but they don't always fit what you're trying to do. So I did two of these little animations. I did one with a bullet, and the bullet I had gotten from this, I just saw it here, the bullet pass here. I used one of these bullets from Filmora, and I did one with a bullet and I did one with the arrow, but I could not find the arrow, a decent looking arrow anywhere that matched my crossbow, or that would look like it matched. So I ended up having to make my own, and this is how we do it. So I hope you can get this to work for your videos.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if you like my videos, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. And you know, we'll see you next time.